Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to G Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. Beautiful day today. No wind, calm, warm, not too hot, not too cold. Just a beautiful day. So the weather guessers actually got it right when it comes to the wind. They can pretty much nail the windy days and the non-windy days perfectly. Now, they predicted this a week ago, that it was going to be Tuesday, nice and calm like this. But the winds are supposed to come back tonight and go again for the next six or 7 days after this. So, oh my gosh, what can we do about that, right? So anyway, I'm out here because I'm sure that a few people that are interested in my flip-flops, my regenerated flip-flops. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to show you pretty much how they're done. So if somebody down the road there, or up the road, or across the street wants to make themselves a pair of these, I'll show you how it's done. So I got another pair of flip-flops right here. And this is actually not two of the same. That's because the two I'm wearing down here are the opposites of these. So the one on my right foot has the orange lining on the inside, and the one on my left foot has the military green lining on the inside. So I'm going to be making another pair. And once I get these done, then I can switch the extra ones out, or switch them out and make them back to their usual pair. So I'll have two with the orange inside and two with this inside. And the reason I did that was because on this one here, the straps pulled out like that. Okay? And I'm sure some of you have had that problem where the straps pull out and then you'll just throw that away. Well, it's pretty worn. It's flattened out and it's pretty thin. So yeah, that would be the option, would be to throw it away. But not for me. For me, I'm going to be rejuvenating these and getting a second life out of them. So I'm going to show you how I did that. First thing I got to do is get the phone into the tripod without hitting any buttons. So let's see if I can do that. Where's the buttons? There they are. So I've got to go over to this side. All right. Press that back into place. All right. So to start with, they're pulled out, and I'm going to have to get my fly swatter here because the flies are starting to get nasty around here. All right, so the unit's pulled out like that. So what do you do with them? Well, first thing I do is I take an awl, and that's not all, and I poke a hole all the way through because these were actually glued in between two layers here. So I poke a hole all the way through, and then I mark a circle around where the hole was. All right. What's the circle for? Well, I got to make a little indentation there so when I put the straps through and I glue them, there's not a lump under there. So what do? Well, I use this. It's going to be loud, and I'm going to quit talking for a minute while I show you how I grind that down. All right, so here we go. And that's it. Yeah, just maybe an eighth of an inch deep is plenty. Okay, and that makes it softer and easier to work with. So now I'm going to align these two straps back flat the way they're supposed to be, because once you put your toe on there, that's when they fold like that. Okay? So now I want to get those through that hole. So I'm going to set them down like this. And I'm going to use my awl to push it through the hole. Now I've already done the other one, but I wanted to show you how this is done so that you know what I'm doing. Okay, once it's sticking through like that, you can grab it on the back side and pull it through. Now, for me, you want to know how far to pull it through. For me, I found that 1 1/4 inches of strap sticking out this side is exactly what I need. So I take the tape measure, pull it back a little bit, and I go like that, and it's 1 1/4 inches from that point to that point. All right, now once I've got that done, now I want to get these folded over here so that I can glue them into place. And what I'm going to use to glue them into place is my hot glue gun. Okay, so what I do is, the first thing I do is put a little bit on the bottom here. Then put a little bit in between the two so that they stick together. Then I use one of these tongue depressor type things. You can use a popsicle stick or whatever. And I press it down into place before it hardens. It only takes a few seconds for it to harden up. So once you get that down like that, what I do is I take a little bit more of this and I go around the top side of it here. And I fill that groove in that I just made and cover the top of the band that I put through so that it all becomes one solid unit. And it can't come loose from there. All right. So you can use your tongue depressor or your popsicle stick to smooth it out a little bit, just to try to get rid of some of the hump that's going to be in it. And that's it. All right, that's all there is to it. Now I can set that aside and let it dry. I'll be doing this one in a little while. As you can see, I've already got it through and it's all ready to be glued. But I didn't measure yet. That looks like 1.5 inches, not 1 1/4 inches. So it's going to come through just a little bit more. About right there. Let's see. Did I hit it right? 1.25 inches. It's a little, that's 1 3/8 inches actually. I take a little bit more on there. All right, so there it is. All right, now once I get these things glued like that, I'm going to want to flatten these out because as you can see, they're curled from walking in them. So what I do is I'll take both of these, and I got a board here with screws in the 4 corners, and the screws are fit into holes so that they just slide in real easy. I'll take both of these, and I'll reverse them around like that, and I'll put them under this board, and then I use my screw gun here to tighten the 4 screws down just enough to crush these things flat like that. Now don't worry about the band. You can put the band like this and let that crush down like that. You can reshape it later. But you do want, you don't want to put the hot glue down until it's completely dry. But anyway, that's it. Now don't worry if you got a little too much glue there. When it's dry, you can take a sanding block like this and you can sand it down a little bit, take the lumps out so you're not standing on a lump while you're using them. All right, so to make the, let me get this one off. To make the tire tread bottom, as you see, and nice and even all the way around, right? Okay, so how do I do that? Okay, it's pretty easy. So driving along the road. I'm not going to go into the story of how I got started doing this, but just quickly, when I first came to California, I was broke, didn't know anybody, didn't have anything lined up for job or anything like that. So to make money, I would make these flip-flops and sell them at the beach until I got arrested for soliciting without a license. So that's the long story short. All right, so this is how I mark and cut them. Let me get the template I got here. The first thing I did was found a shoe that's the right size, or you can use the flip-flop, and I marked this out on a piece of cardboard, and I cut a template. Now I wear size 10.5. That's the left foot, and you flip it over, and that's the right foot. So you only have to make one of these. You don't have to make two. All right? So then you can take this, and you can flatten out a piece of the tire like this. I got two pieces there. Let me get rid of one piece. Okay, you flatten out the tire like that. Then you put this on there like that, and you mark it out. And you could use just about anything you want to mark it out. I have this soap pencil. That's a little piece of white soap that's in there. And this is for metal working, so you can write on metal with it, see? So I use this to trace the template out onto the tire. Now, to save time, I started this one already, and I left just a little bit left to cut here, so I can show you how I'm doing it. This is a metal bandsaw, and I have to use this to do these because these are steel belted tires. And I ran into trouble cutting the first pair that I did, the ones I'm wearing on my feet. Took me forever to cut them. Trying with a little jigsaw, tried with that rotary cutter, tried everything to get them cut, and it was just a pain in the neck. So this makes a little noise. I'm going to turn it on right now and finish this cut and show you what I got. Okay, so there is one sole. Now look at the edge. It's not smooth, it's not straight. It's got little wires sticking out here, and that's nasty, right? Well, it doesn't have to be perfect when you're making this cut, and I'm going to tell you why. So we're going to move back over here. I'm not going to cut the other one. I'll do that later when I finish the other one here. Okay, the reason that this does not have to be perfectly smooth is because it's a rough up. And this is going to glue onto this one. Okay, and you can see it doesn't quite fit right. See, there's a little extra on the side here. So I try to get it as centered as possible, starting at the back and working forward, and get it as decent as possible. Now you see there's a little extra sticking out, and then this got a little extra sticking out here on this side. I don't worry too much about that. I just want to get it centered to where it's going to be, because I'm going to coat that. First thing I'm going to do is coat this surface with Flex Seal Liquid Black. Okay, this is liquid rubber in here, and this is what I just recently used to fix tires. So it works really good for stuff like this. But I'm gonna coat this, but I'm not gonna stick it to anything yet. I'm just gonna coat this surface and let it dry, because I want to fill in all the grooves in here, and these little rusty wires that are sticking out, I want to fill all of those in too, so they don't stick in my feet. Now what I will do before I do that is I'll take my little sanding block and I'll sand those wires down so they're not little pins sticking up through that glue. My foot's not going on this, so I don't really have to be that special on it and you can see the little wires sticking out right there. Okay, those would hurt on the side of your foot. So I'm not going to worry about those right now either. After I get this glued and after it's dried completely, then I will take it over to this sander right here. And I will sand all the way around as far as I can. Now, on the concave sections, of course, that's a flat disc. I can't get into the concaves. So what do I do at that point? I clamp my belt sander, and you could do the whole thing on this belt sander. I just find it faster on that disc sander. So you can do the whole thing on here, but I can use this to get into the concaves of the sides of the flip-flop to smooth those off. All right. So once I've got them glued together, I clamp them again. Like I said, I clamp them under this board and let them completely dry under there. And then I will shape the outer section. Now you can see on this, you can see how this is flared out. Okay, that's from the foot pressing on here. And when you buy these things, of course, they're squared off right there. So I will be grinding all of this excess off of here right down to that line right there. I'll follow that inside line all the way around when I'm grinding it on the sander. And then they're done. Once they've dried for 2 days, they're ready to be worn. And I get a lot of life out of these. And with a sole like that on the bottom, I can step on rocks and all kinds of stuff, and it doesn't want to penetrate into my foot. Now, I've even stepped on a screw, and the screw just barely stuck into the rubber because it's not a car weight on top of it. It's just me. So it wasn't enough weight to press the screw through this tire. It's steel belted. It's a radial. I got radial feet. All right, everybody. So that's how I did it. And I wanted to make sure y'all understood that. Okay, my gun's still on because I'm going to hot glue this other strap into place while I'm at it. And then I'll go inside and I'll upload this video for everybody. Thank you for joining me. G Bear signing off.